Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of Video Games Ahoy. My name is Jonathan Radford, and today I'm joined by Daf Gape.
Hello.
Zach Hamilton.
Hi.
And for the first time, Mr. Daf Weeks.
Hello.
Hey Daf, how are you doing? How are you doing? The first time. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, all good. Excited to be here.
Oh man, it's great to have you. What about you guys? How are you doing?
Very well.
Very
Good,
well.
man.
How are you doing, Zach? After last week?
Oh my god, last week, I can't tell you the rage that was seething through my entire core. That was very frustrating, but I'm very glad to be able to sit and talk about games with you guys again. Feels good. Feels good.
Yeah,
I've got a lot to talk about this week, I think.
Yeah, we've
got lots going on.
There's been a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of news. Me and Daf Gape, we streamed the PS5 event last week, which was. I mean, we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, it's been a big news week of video games. But yeah, before we start, let's talk about the basics of the podcast. This podcast is supported by loads of wonderful people, our lovely patrons. So to everyone that contributes, thank you. We really, really appreciate it. You help the podcast grow, and yeah, we love you guys. It really, really does. If you would like to support us, then go ahead and check out our Patreon page, Video Games Ahoy. You can pay £1, £5, £10, anything you like. And also, if you can't, then that's totally cool. We just like you watching or listening. It's great.
But you do get bonus stuff.
You do get bonus stuff. We did a really cool episode recently on Breath of the Wild. So that was great. One of my friends, he all the way in San Francisco, he was saying that it was a really good episode, and it was one of the reasons why he actually started giving more money on the Patreon page. So check that out if you can.
That's been a good episode.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good fun. I mean, I'll talk for days about Breath of the Wild, but there you go. As well as Patreon, you can find us on the usual websites like Twitter and Facebook. We're also on Twitch. We have loads of cool stuff as well. Dav is usually streaming, but I'm hoping to join him soon, so you can probably catch him. Dav, when's the next time you're streaming? But this will come out on Saturday. Are you streaming on Sunday?
I should be streaming on Sunday, yes,
Good.
but we're not doing Batman anymore. We're on to the game that I'm talking about today.
Okay, well, we hold off. We'll hold off until we come to that. We're also on YouTube as well. We put some really cool videos up. Zach, there's a video of Zach that went up yesterday. But by yesterday, I mean Tuesday, of him singing a lovely song from The Last of Us. So check that out. It's with his beautiful tenory voice.
Yeah, man. That was really fun. That was really fun to do. I really enjoyed doing that.
You did a really great job as well, man.
Super hyped for that game. So it was like just a little bit more like build up for me personally. In the film and recording stuff.
Yeah, and but just before that as well, we did a Rank the Jank episode led by the wonderful Daf Gape. With his dulcet tones and scathing review of Uncharted. But we won't get back into Uncharted. We've got many times.
I think he said it perfectly. I think if you can probably skip all my ranting about Uncharted. You just have to go and watch.
Just go straight.
Summarize it perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, eloquently and perfectly. But yeah, that's it. That's everything we need to tell you about the podcast. Should we actually get on with the podcast? Should we talk about games?
Shall we? Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, so the question, I always give the guys a question, just so we can have something fun to chat about, getting to know us about our past with video games. And the question I asked this week was games you gave up on. That could be a number of games. That could be, I don't know, something that you started for whatever reason can continue. Ragely you quit. Ragely, that's a new word I'm adding. Should we start with? I feel like the perfect person to lead us in our Rage Hall is Zach. So Zach, should we start with you? Name us a game.
Rage.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I sat and I thought, because I was looking at that question this morning. And I was trying to think, mostly because I'm really cheap. Like, and if I bought a game, I don't want to stop playing it because I paid for it, right? But the game that immediately came into my mind, and it's a controversial opinion, I'll be prepared to fight my corner on this one. I don't enjoy Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Oh,
at all.
Interesting.
At all. Because okay, so obviously I started playing with 2. I played Brotherhood, Revelations, 3. I fell out with 3. I think I mentioned that. I had problems with it. And 4 felt like a really cool idea, and everyone had been telling me how great it was. There was pirates, cool. I'm so up for that. And I started playing it. And I was okay. It might take a little bit of slow burn. It feels like, and that's okay. I'm all up for that. And I was like, all right, well, the first thing I want to do is go and do some like pirating. I want to go, do some what I wanted to do, the main thing I wanted to do was to jump from my ship onto someone else's ship, and go around stabbing dudes, because it's just like that's so like the movie, right? That's like Pirates of the Caribbean, the game, you know. And I kept doing that for a while, which you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to do that in a cycle. You're supposed to do that like sparingly, I think, throughout the game. And I got kind of over it quite quickly. But that wasn't the main offender. That was the thing I was most excited about that ended up being a little bit of a letdown in so much as it didn't feel that varied or it didn't really feel like I was having to work very hard for it. I was like... I didn't feel like I was making any plans. It was just like, alright, go over there, press X, you know, like whatever. But the main thing that made me fall out with it is that we went back to the Assassin's Creed 1 stuff of the listen thing, you know, where you have to just walk behind someone and listen to their conversation. And honestly, that was unbearable for me. I found that to be just
tedious.
There was no coming back from that. As soon as I got to that point and I started to realise that it wasn't just going to be one-off, I just stopped. I was like, I can't keep going with this. And the main thing, again, it's another one of these things of, if the plot had engaged me, if I'd been interested in these characters, I probably would have persevered, but I really wasn't interested in... What's his name in it? The guy...
Kenway? No.
No, Kenway's 3,
It's from 3, yeah. He's a Welsh name, isn't he? Because he's from Cardiff.
He's the Welsh guy.
Yeah, it's from Cardiff.
It's not Edward. Edward Kenway.
It is... Edwards? No, Edwards is 3 as well. Edward Kenway is 3. So we don't even know his name.
Welsh
boy. Welsh guy.
We don't even know his name, which says a lot to me about the story. I'd love to hear what you guys think about Black Flag because everyone seems to love it. Obviously, it's kind of been and gone now. It's a long time ago, and probably anyone who went back and played it now would feel that it was dated at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess did you guys enjoy it when it came out?
I did. But didn't play it until it came out onto Xbox One.
Okay, so you have a bit of like a retroactive perspective on it.
Yeah, kinda. So like, first game I played on Xbox One was Alien Isolation. For some reason, that was the game that was bundled in, and it was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that's a cool
and then
game.
some of the other games that I was playing at the same time kind of didn't stack up to that. And then I played Black Flag, and I went, oh, okay, now we're on next gen.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks and feels next gen, even though it's got a very similar platform and formula to old Assassin's Creed, and all the future stuff in Assassin's Creed 4 is absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
But that was like it was such a graphical showpiece for me that I just wanted to be in that world, and I did end up growing attached to some of the characters. I really liked Blackbeard. And the main female pirate.
I know this.
Yeah, Blackbeard's cool in that game, but yeah, he kind of comes in about halfway, maybe a bit later. There's a bit where he's got candles in his beard, all lit.
Yeah,
looks like an absolute badass.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I had a very similar experience. I didn't play it when it first came out. I played it quite a bit after, and I definitely agree with you. Assassin's Creed 4 feels like it would have just been better if it didn't have the Assassin's Creed name, because a lot of especially the future stuff was so pointless, and it just felt like they had to continue with that because of the way that 3 ended. It was like, oh, we need something to come in here, and it was just every time I would go into the future, I was like, I hate this. This is taking me out of the experience. And you're right as well, Zach, in that being a pirate is really, really fun, but it can get quite monotonous when you do. It does feel.
Well, that was my favourite part. Being the pirate was the best part. I think
it was the best part.
I agree with you. You know, I think why not just have a new IP? You know what I mean? Like same with these new ones. You got the Greek one. You got the Egyptian one. You've got the Viking ones coming out. It just seems like, do they have to be Assassin's Creed games, or can we not have like a Viking game? It's just about being a Viking.
If you don't make it an Assassin's Creed game, you sell half the numbers.
Yeah, that is.
Well, I mean, I totally agree with that. And that's obviously that's where I'm going to be critical, because if they're doing it purely for the numbers, then it is going to suffer as a game. But I can see why you would do that. It just seems like a shame in a lot of ways. But yeah, that was the game that I gave up on.
Yeah, an interesting point about it as well is that Black Flag. Then it was Unity, right? And they went Unity, and Unity had a lot of problems, and you could feel that was when Ubisoft really were getting into it, and they really had to pull the brakes on a lot of their franchise and go, right, we need to rework out how we do these games. And so then Syndicate came along and they thought, right, okay, sales are dropping, things aren't going to plan, the games aren't as detailed and everything else as we like. And then you saw them change gear, and yeah, they kept the Assassin's Creed name, but not that I've played them actually. Origins and Odyssey though are very much removed from that old formula.
Yeah,
I've heard that actually. I was speaking to a friend about it who's been playing both those games lately, and he says that the formula is significantly shifted and that he's really enjoyed it. I'm not really willing at this stage now to give it very many. I kind of feel like I gave Assassin's Creed its chances, and I'm not really that interested in catching up. I might do it. I might catch up for the sake of being able to talk about it on the show, because I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
But from a personal perspective, I'm kind of like, just a bit disenfranchised with the franchise.
With the franchise.
Yeah. Daf Weeks, did you play Assassin's Creed 4?
Yeah, and it was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
No!
It was. I hate to say it, but it was. Like, I feel like it peaked with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, though. Like, that has been my favorite one. And then the last in that Ezio trilogy in the 3 was and then Black Flag I was like, fun buccaneering, and I liked it. And then
I think 4 ended up being spoiled because of Revelations in 3. Like, I already had this bad taste in my mouth, so any bad was just like amplified 10 times over, you know.
If it's not if it's not as good as Assassin's Creed 2 at that point, you're kind of like, well, it's just going downhill.
Exactly.
I get it.
3 is definitely the worst game I've ever completed, and I think that's why I had to wait to play Black Flag. I was like, I can't do this to myself, because I plowed through. I did 2 Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, one after another.
Yeah.
In order to get ready for Black Flag, and then 3 was so abhorrently awful that I was like, I just put myself through all that for nothing, and I'm never going to play this game.
See, the weird thing about 3 for me is that it's purely the story thing, because I like that era of time, especially like the American Revolution. I think it's a really interesting time, especially in that world. But I just think that it just wasn't great. It just felt like it was shoehorned. Everything was like, right, we got to go to America as quickly as possible and make as many sales as we can. And I just think there were so many missteps with 3 that there were elements of it that are really good. I mean, Assassin's Creed 3 introduced the ships. Like that, there was ship elements in that. It was on a very small scale compared to 4, but it was there. But it was present in 3. But yeah.
The ship's my least favorite thing in that franchise.
Really? It does. Well, see, I'm torn because I do enjoy it, like Zach says, but I do also find that it does get very repetitive. However, I used to love the songs. I used to love like sailing around. It's like yo ho ho ho. That's it. That's the best thing. Awesome, Zach. Zach, that's great. Great to hear about your I say poor experiences with Assassin's Creed 4, but I don't think you're gonna be the last person that complains about Assassin's Creed. Let's just say that. How about you, Daf Weeks? How about you?
So I have a notoriously bad habit of not completing games. It's absolutely disgraceful. Like 80% of the games, I rarely get to the end. I start playing a new game and go, ooh, and then forget that I've got a game I haven't finished. So, and I think the one I kind of regret most at the moment is Red Dead 2. I haven't completed it.
No.
I've gone halfway through, and, I like it. Yeah. It's a good game. It's just very long.
It's also very slow as well at points.
It's very long. It's very slow, which I'm not adverse to, but something big and flashy came past and I went, ooh.
Yeah.
And never went back to it.
Just straight in, yeah.
Not to mention the fact, my wife played it, so I'd just tune in and I'd watch, chunks of her playing the story, and then it felt like, well, I've got the story now, so don't need to do it.
Yeah. the thing with that type of game as well, it's a really good backseat game because it's so story driven. You can't like Rosie would watch me play Red Dead Redemption 2, and she'd be like, "Oh, this is really good." I'm watching it. She was like, "I have no intention to ever pick this up, but I can admire it and see that it's a really good game." But yeah, anything else other than Red Dead 2? Or is that like the big one for you? Is that like the
Mate, list any game and I can tell you I've done up to 80% of it.
Oh god.
Like the only Final Fantasy game, like, and I love Final Fantasy games, but the only one I've actually got to the end of is 10.
Really?
Yeah, never completed any of the others.
I went through a period
after multiple tries.
Yeah, I went through a period of time of just trying to complete them. Well, when they all came out on Switch, from 7 to 10, I bought them all so I could complete them all again. Just because I was on like I said before, I was on a tour bus. I had nothing else to do. I was like, you know what? They're like 30-hour games. It's it's gonna kill time on a bus. It was a great experience, but I don't know. I think Daf Gape said this previously. He was talking about how sometimes long games can be really off-putting, and regardless of how good they play, who's got time often to put like 100 hours into games? Especially when you want to try different things and try playing different games as well. But
the Switch was a bit of a game changer. I feel like we're talking about this a lot. Like the Switch sort of changed that because it meant that you could, for me personally, I mean, for instance, actually, Jonny, you and I spent a lot of time on that tour bus together. But also, if you're, traveling on public transport, even semi-regularly, you can always delve in for 15 minutes and then pop it away again. So I feel like that makes a big difference for that whole experience. Because I agree, as a grown-up, you don't have 100 hours the way you do when you're a little kid.
Nope.
It's not as easy.
Because it gets a heck of a lot harder when you get older. But yeah, how about you, Daf Gape, I should say?
So for me, I'd probably have to say every MMO I've ever tried to play.
Yeah.
Whether it's Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft, Warframe, even like things like Destiny or Ark Survival Evolved, which are like massively multiplayer but not necessarily RPGs.
Yeah.
To the same degree. There's just... it's supposed to be a story-driven campaign, right? And I know that Final Fantasy XIV is supposed to be incredible. Especially like some of the best story of all Final Fantasy games, apparently. But there is just something about having hundreds of people who all look kind of like your character, just like wandering around, just completely destroying all the immersion possible.
Yeah.
I think for multiplayer games, I just can't. If it's co-op, it's co-op. If it's PvP, it's PvP. And if it's story-based, I want a single player or a co-op experience that you just go through. But just having it all on screen at the same time and all the different usernames and like, oh, I'm looking to trade this item for this, and it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot for my brain to take in. I just can't hack it. And I tried Elder Scrolls Online. I tried, and I want to get back into that. But also, you need people who you're going to play it with. And sometimes you do, and then one of them falls off. So you're like, oh, well, I won't play it. I'll wait for them. And then they want to play it, and you're not free. And MMOs, man. It's just something I'll never be able to get into.
I think you're totally right, though. I think we've said previously on the podcast that like every multiplayer experience is enhanced when you're playing with people that you know, or at least people that you trust. I can't play Call of Duty now, really, because not can't play, but I used to have like a group of friends that we play all the time. I'm talking 10 years ago, and multiplayer was really a big thing for Call of Duty. I know it is now, but when it first came around. And we played all the time, but I couldn't do it now because I lose that sort of sense of fun. I can't imagine how, especially when it's like there is narrative in like World of Warcraft and stuff like that online. I think sometimes it can be quite hard to get into that when you're playing on your own as like other people. I don't know. I'm totally with you on that. I much prefer single player experiences, which is why I'm always worried. Like with EA, for instance, they just sort of cut single player experiences out and go, yeah, we're going to focus on multiplayer. That's fine, but you're losing a lot of people who don't have the time to get good and don't have the time to don't want to, I like taking my time. I like taking it as slow as I can because I'm experiencing at the pace that I can do.
So if you had a friend who wanted to play Call of Duty with you now, would you play with them?
Probably not. I think I would be interested. But I think there's just more games I want to play that isn't that, and because I know you play it, I know you play Call of Duty as well. I would be tempted to play with you, but like
that did sound like a proposal, and then a massive shutdown.
Yeah, no.
Can't wait for the section where we'll talk about what games we've been playing this week.
No, but like no,
and what I'm streaming on Sunday.
But like no, I think I don't get me wrong. I always think fondly of them, but I think it's just for me now. Whenever I get to the evening, I don't often get a chance to play stuff like that anyway, because we only have one TV in the house or something. And Rosie's been working all day, bless her, so I don't often get the time to even use that, which is why the Switch is perfect for that. So for me, there are two games. I think you guys you'll probably understand where I'm coming from with this. There are two games in particular, and it's not necessarily because one of them is a bit more specific to the game. One of them is more specific to the time, but they're both kind of time frame in themselves. And that's Metal Gear Solid 5 and Bloodborne. So I bought both of those games around 2015, and that's when we started going to the Royal Welsh College. If you don't know, me and Dav, we were in the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff, and we were training every day from like 8 a.m. in the morning till 8 a.m. at night. So I probably didn't play my PlayStation 4 for about a year, and that's not really an exaggeration. We just didn't have the time. And just before I went into college, I picked up Metal Gear Solid 5, and I got about halfway, and then it just ran out of time, and I just could never get back into it. As soon as I lost it, I was like, Metal Gear Solid's not always the easiest game to follow anyway. And after not playing it for like months, I was like, unless I start from the beginning, there's just no way I'm going to get back into the flow, because I have no idea what's going on. I don't really have the time to pick that up. So that like the
story and also the controls,
Yeah.
Like, I used to be good at this, but now I need to build up that skill again.
Yeah, and that was a big thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. I could probably get back into it now, but then it's such a long game as well that I was like, I've played it. I know it's a good game. It's just kind of my fault on the timing that I wasn't able to finish it. But the other game I was going to say is Bloodborne, and that's more specifically because I had a very restricted time that I could play games, and I did not have the time to get good. So honest to God, I got through the first couple of levels, just kept getting my butt whooped, and I was like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to get good. And I know Bloodborne is like one of the best games of the PlayStation 4 generation in particular, but I just couldn't do it, and I had to give it up. I was like, I can't. This is just, it's stressing me out because I can't beat the boss, and I don't have the time to do any better, if that makes sense.
Oh,
so, yeah.
100%.
And I guess because it's the same people as Dark Souls, isn't it?
Yeah, From Software.
Yeah.
I tried playing Bloodborne on PS Now, and
Yeah.
it was next to unplayable.
Yeah.
Just the
damn
servers.
I was going to say the servers must make it even worse, because it's not an easy game to play anyway, and then when you're playing it and the screen is chopping in and out.
Yeah.
Jeez. But yeah, because Zach, you were very similar. You did the same with Dark Souls, didn't you? I remember you played about 30 hours in the Switch.
Yeah, well, so this is what I was going to say, actually, because I played Bloodborne quite recently for a little while, and I had a pretty similar experience to how I did with Dark Souls. The only difference was when I was playing Dark Souls, first of all, I had it on my Switch, so I could play it as and when. The other thing is, I was doing a show at the time, I've talked about this a little bit, where I was playing my Switch backstage, and I had chunks, like good chunks where I could sit back. I don't know if someone's going to watch this and get me in trouble, because maybe I wasn't supposed to be doing this, but I would sit backstage and play my Switch.
It's fine. No one's doing anything in the theatre at the moment anyway, so...
And because you can literally, on a Switch, so you can just press pause, run onto your scene, run back off, get back into the boss. And it was quite fun as well, because some of the other guys... some of the other cast actually would sometimes gather around and sort of be like, because they could see how difficult it was and how much I was getting. So when something good happened, it was really triumphant, because everyone's on side. But Bloodborne, because I was playing on my own, and I was playing in my house on my PlayStation, I didn't really have I don't know. I think one of the things that helped me get through it was the sort of community element of everyone really wants me to beat it. That was really fun, and it was this group experience. And the other thing was that I could pick it up and rather than have to properly sit down to play it, because it's also it's they're quite oppressive games. They're not. They don't make you feel good. When they do make you feel good, it's not without massive hardship. So I do like those games, and I think the tight controls and it is really fun. But I just don't think I want to put myself in that situation again.
Yeah, the idea of putting yourself through 2 hours and going, at the end of this, I'm going to be a boss fight. It's going to take me another hour to defeat him. But then what if after those 3 hours you still haven't defeated him? That's your whole evening, and you just go...
and
I'm
you
an
can
abject
get really far
failure.
and get loads of souls, so you can level up, and you're like, I'm going to level up, then you die, and it just like puts you in a bad mood. It's so punishing. It's so. I really feel you, Johnny. I think that's a very fair game to give up on. Any of the Souls games, I think it's fair.
Well, yeah. No, you got that. Dab, you go.
I was just gonna say, I've been watching the Dark Souls playthroughs by well, they're called RKG. They used to be at IGN on a channel called Prepare to Try, and it was one guy who'd never played Dark Souls playing through them. Very amusing. It's all edited. It's very good watch, and I've been watching those. And I've watched Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2. I'm now watching them play Dark Souls 3. I've got to say, it's very enjoyable watching someone else have to suffer. But it is making me want to go, oh, well, I've watched the Dark Souls series, but I could give Bloodborne a go. And Sekiro. I'm tempted, you know. I kind of want to give it a go.
You should
just
definitely
see
give it a
how
go.
horrible it is.
You should definitely give it a go, but be prepared to be in a bad mood about it a lot of the time.
That's fine. I spent 8
if you're a rage quitter, you will be rage quitting.
Yeah, rage quitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to hear I'm not alone when it comes to Bloodborne and all those types of games, because I just felt bad because I know people put it on a pedestal and be like, yeah, you have to complete these types of games. I'm like, I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. Should we actually move on to games that I guess we're more enjoying, we're actually playing at the moment, or I've played recently? Daf Gape, you went last time. Do you want to go first?
Of course.
What have you been playing?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
How's it been?
Well, I only bought it this weekend, so I'd never played it before Saturday. And I'm having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
Warzone may be my least favourite aspect of it. I'm halfway through the campaign, and I have to say, the cutscenes in that campaign are the best looking things I've ever seen on a video games console. And is better than anything we've seen in the PS5 launch reveal, any of those reveals. Better than everything.
Bold.
Like, there are some things in there where I genuinely think it's a real person. It is insane how good it looks. And then the drop down from that to actual gameplay isn't that far. Even multiplayer, like it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. The motion capture and the thing about Call of Duty is they have motion capture on the clothing, it's not just a green bodysuit, but so every piece of clothing in the game is a piece of clothing that exists in real life.
Wow.
So when you see how their clothes move, it's realistic because it's based on real clothing.
That is amazing.
And it's just beautiful. And on top of being beautiful, it's got those tight Call of Duty mechanics. And multiplayer is frustrating as heck. But I love it. And when you finish a game like 20 kills and 5 deaths, and you feel like a god. And then the next one you got 3 kills and 11 deaths, and you're like, God, why am I alive? But Warzone is fun. You have to play it with people though.
Yeah.
Like I played one match of solos and I came 8th and I got 8 kills and I was like, oh, that was really good.
Yeah.
But like, it's just nothing compared to playing with a squad of your mates.
Dav, can you explain? Because I don't know much about Warzone. Can you just explain it to anyone that isn't?
Don't know much about Warzone. So Warzone is the battle royale mode.
Okay.
The free mode that you don't need to buy the game for. And so I've sort of integrated myself into the streaming community, and a lot of them play Warzone. So I thought, right, I'll give it a go, see how it is. Yeah. Played it on Saturday, and I thought that's all right. And there was a free weekend for multiplayer, like this playlist. You just played multiplayer, and I was playing this, and I was like, oh, I'm getting like old school Modern Warfare vibes here. Nice. And like some of the maps are like redone versions of the old maps, and I'm like, ooh, amazing. I'm getting this itch. And then a few of my mates were like, let's go, let's play some multiplayer. Playing this multiplayer, and then Sunday I was like, it's on offer, and I had a voucher for an Xbox code anyway, so I was like, put that together. Fine, I will feel really guilty about this, but I will buy Modern Warfare. But I'm halfway through the campaign, really enjoying it. There are some moments which I think are a bit risky, and they have this kind of running cliche of, oh, on this level, the good people look like the bad people, so make sure you don't shoot any civilians. And it's like, ooh, make sure you keep an eye out because this person might be going to grab a gun or grabbing a baby. You don't want to shoot someone who's grabbing a baby, do you? And it's like trying to hammer home, like, war is hard. It's like, yeah, I know war is hard, but you're still glorifying it by playing, like, by making this game. So,
yeah.
Choose what your angle is here. And And then so that kind of happens sort of every other level. But I'm playing it on the realism difficulty.
Oh,
so
wow.
you've got casual, normal, hardened, veteran, realism, which is veteran, but there's no HUD. So it's like it's just like one big old cinematic. But you can't see how much ammo you've got in your clip. You can't see like any sort of you don't have a reticle. You don't. Well, do you have a reticle? No, only when you aim down sights.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's loads of stuff that like, you don't get any hints or like what tactical equipment you have, all the rest of it. You don't have a compass or an objective marker or anything like that. And it's a really fun way to play the game. I've noticed there are some scripted parts where like I'll get shot 8 times and won't die, but when I'm actually playing, I get shot twice, I die. That's it. You get 2 hits and you die. So I'm like, oh, wow, so that time I got hit 8 times, that was clearly intended for me to not die. It was scripted so that I couldn't die. I could have probably just stood there and taken 50 bullets and I would have been fine. So yeah, it's weird playing it on a high difficulty. You start to see the cracks of the game design and like what's being built and how.
Yeah.
But saying that, it's still a joy to play through. Frustrating at times, like all Call of Duty games are, but really enjoying it. And I'll be streaming it this Sunday. I'm going to be streaming it maybe like twice a week now. A mixture of Warzone and multiplayer. I haven't tried Spec Ops yet, but I want to. But yes, that is me. I've heard my voice for long enough. Modern Warfare is very enjoyable.
Do you think
it's on sale right now?
Do you think that it's do you think it's as good as the old games? Do you think? Because there was a period of time I know where Call of Duty really, really, it was fine, but it wasn't. The thing with Call of Duty was there was a period of time when it was genuinely like some of the peak of gaming, like Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 1 were like 2 of the best games of all time. Do you think? I'm not saying is it at those heights? I can't imagine that it is, but is it? I guess better because was it? It's not Advanced Warfare. Maybe it was Advanced Warfare. Advanced War, which is the one I played. The one in
Advanced
space.
Warfare was the one with Kevin Spacey. Oh, that's Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare. Okay, that because I know that one did not get good reviews.
No, Ghosts as well is
it?
famously not great.
Yeah.
So I hadn't played a Call of Duty game since Advanced Warfare, which is the one that used to have Kevin Spacey in it.
Yeah, that's the last one I played.
What do you mean used to have Kevin Spacey in it?
They replaced him, I think.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I might be
after
remembering that wrong.
After the whole controversy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big job then.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Wow.
So, and he played the villain in that.
He did.
But I think that was the last one I played. And this campaign is definitely better than that, and I enjoyed that. And the multiplayer is better. It's a bit slower. And after playing a lot of Apex Battle Royale, Apex Legends, Warzone is a lot slower. It's a lot slower paced. You can spend 5 minutes without seeing anyone.
Right.
Which that would be very rare on Apex. And with Warzone, it seems like no one wants to land next to other people. And the loot is very well spread out, whereas with Apex it's like this place has higher tier loot, this place has medium tier loot, so like you get these pockets of explosions and you just want to get in there, take everyone out, take all the loot, move on. So it's interesting trying to play with a different pace. But does it compare? It definitely compares to the older games. It is up there. Probably nostalgia kicking in as well. How can you compare it to the originals? But campaign, it's definitely up there.
Oh, that's good.
Definitely up there. Maybe I'd have to think about it, but it's definitely top 3.
I mean,
COD campaigns.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that like what is it? Was it no English? No Russian. Like that.
Yes,
I mean that level in itself is one of the most famous levels from any video game of all time. So I mean, like,
there are a lot of savage moments in this campaign that kind of try to emulate that feeling. Like there's one mission where, not really much of a spoiler, but your character's like, oh, we should go save those people, and the character next to you is like, no, we have something else we have to do, and so you just watch those people get killed. And it's like, and they shoot a child, and it's just like, oh, okay. So I didn't get to save that child to get shot in the back of the head. But it's okay because we're going to go do this thing, and then that thing fails as well, and you're like, did nothing, did it for nothing. It's pretty brutal. And yeah, there's some moments in games like that, and I'm like, it's tough to make someone play that. But at least in this, I didn't have a choice. In No Russian, you do have a choice.
That is true. Yeah.
In fact, there's an achievement, I think, for not shooting it, not shooting a bullet. In this, it's just sort of a scripted moment. But a moment like that really disturbed me is in GTA 5, and I guess I could have brought that up earlier as to why when I dropped that. There's a scene in it where
I think I know the one you're going to talk about.
The torture scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got one character, it's a bit of a tangent now, but there's one character who's sort of looking through a scope at a building to see who to snipe, and then you're playing as Trevor, who is torturing this guy to give up information about which person in the building is your target. And I just quit. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is horrible. I think I just shot. I think I was like, I went to do the first one. I'm like, that makes me feel horrible. And I went, I'm not playing this. I just shot anyone. It was the wrong person. I didn't care. Just put the game down. I was like, nah, I don't want to feel like that. Not in a video game.
I remember that being a very controversial, controversial moment in GTA. I mean, GTA has always had controversial moments, but I remember that specifically, especially because at the end of it, Trevor then goes, torturing doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. Like you would have told me what you would have told me the second you knew, if you knew what you were talking about. Because if you didn't, or if you knew what you were going to say and you were willing to like die for it, then it's stupid. It's like
it's like okay, that's an important message, but is that a message that we need to experience in that way? Like torturing is bad. It's like people either know torturing is bad or believe it's good. Playing through that experience in that game isn't going to change your mind.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, the people who like torturing are going to enjoy that moment.
That is true.
GTA 5, the game for torturers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why it sells so well.
And for PS5s.
Yeah. Oh God, PS5. We'll talk about that in a bit, actually. But thanks, Dad. No, I'm really interested to see. I'll tune in to your Twitch to see how it's going, because like. I would be interested to getting back into COD. I just think for me it used to be something that I would play all the time, and I'm worried I'd get addicted. That's all. But Daf Weeks, how about you? What have you been playing?
Well, one of the rare games where I've actually completed it.
Hey, GTA
5. Yeah, finally. It's the most recent Hitman 2, which is actually more like Hitman 7, but Hitman 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how was it?
So jealous.
I love it. Like since the first Hitman game, I've really enjoyed it. Like it was like touching buttons in what I like in games that I didn't know I had.
Yeah,
and it was really unique at the time. It was the start of the whole kind of like
with you guys.
sneaky.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, you alright?
Oh,
you're
back.
You're
back. You
just came in with sneaky.
Sneaky.
No, it was just the whole. It was start of like the sneaky third person kind of game, like Splinter Cell and that, and I loved that.
Bring back Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell's great.
Yeah. But Hitman was just like, I loved how it was basically one big puzzle, and initially it was like, yeah, it's open world, you can do what you want, and that's great. They've kept that through the entire thing, obviously, but now it feels like they've gimmicked it, because now they expect you to redo the levels over and over and do in every possible permutation.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, bizarrely, by telling you to do that, they've made it more linear.
Right.
Because now you're expected to do it through all these different ways.
Yeah, so
and
you do it the one way, and the more you do it, the more it limits your options. Because you go, well, I've already done those, I might as well do that one.
Yeah. And also, the game only has about 6 arenas, 6 missions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they're huge. They are really big, with multiple targets in them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's only 6. But it's because they expect you to do that level multiple times.
Yeah.
And they're dense levels, aren't they? There's a lot to do in them.
There's a heck of a lot. And it's really impressive. I mean, I'm a little bit awe-inspired by how many NPCs there are just walking around. And when you're walking through crowds of people, like at the Grand Prix, which is like the first mission in the second installment, it's great. I love it. I like the sense of humor. Again, it feels a bit gimmicky when it's like, oh yeah, you're dressed like a clown now.
Yeah.
Oh look, you're a child's entertainer. It's a bit weird, but quite fun. And also, like in the earlier iterations, you had to find these alternative ways of killing like your targets. But now, basically, you hit a button and basically just gives you a series of waypoints. So it's kind of like, go pick up the screwdriver from here, go listen to this person's conversation, break into this house, go up to the roof, and kill the old man when he's taking a poo. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. And like, it's really prescribed. So before you had to be creative, and now it's telling you how to be creative.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I
it's
guess
kind of like,
well, it takes away the, I guess your choice. I guess it's like going. This is what you kind of have to do.
It's like, I'm going to give you a choice. You can play the game however you want, but we're going to tell you how to play however you want.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. So like, it doesn't hold a candle to the early experiences. Even the clunky controls in the earlier games, it kind of felt like you were doing a puzzle. I don't know if that's a good thing or just my nostalgia talking, but it felt like a puzzle just getting over the clunky controls. So, and also I didn't give a damn about the story. Didn't care. Like, it was, for me, it was completely irrelevant. I just liked finding really weird ways of eliminating your targets.
What was the weirdest thing you did to eliminate a target?
One of your targets is like in the Grand Prix level. One of them's like whizzing around a racetrack, and then basically you have to dress as a pit stop person and call them in, saying there's a problem with the car, and then put a timed explosive in their car, and then they explode mid-track, which is quite fun. There's another one where there's some kind of weird, like, rich person's cult initiation where they get put into a flaming statue, and you basically lock them in the flaming statue. They're really silly.
Yeah.
There is a sense of humour to how outrageous these things are.
Yeah, because I've never played Hitman. I've no idea.
Have you not?
No, I've never played Hitman.
Worth a go.
I've heard they're good.
I tried the older ones, but much later, and the controls, I just couldn't get past it. It felt so clunky, like you said.
Yeah.
But one thing I've heard, or one thing I've seen, I can't remember if it's Hitman 1 or Hitman 2, but because you have to assassinate your target and then you have to get out, right?
Yeah.
And there's one level where you have to get out, where you can get out by putting on like a bird costume. And then you go up to this specific building, and on top there's a massive nest, and you crouch down and you wait there for enough time, and a massive bird comes in and swoops and takes you away.
It's really that dumb sometimes.
Quite silly. But that's hilarious.
I love it.
It's because of things like that I don't care about the story.
Yeah.
Because like the story takes itself so seriously, but then like start the mission dressed as a flamingo. It's completely irrelevant,
Yeah.
That is quite. I mean, it's interesting because I've always wanted. Like I said, I've never played one, but I've always wanted to try one. So, would you recommend if I was going to go back and play one? Is the one you would recommend to play?
I'll be honest, you're gonna have a good time playing one of the most recent ones, either Hitman 1 or Hitman 2.
Yeah.
Like they've kind of jumped back to the start of the numbering system because they have changed it into this more fun, replayable kind of thing. But Blood Money and Absolution from the original set of games are pretty good. Blood Money in particular.
Also worth noting that Hitman 3, when it comes out, will have all of the maps from Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 put into it, so you can play through them all.
In that case, wait
just
till
like
3,
Hitman 3.
because that was the other annoying thing. If you buy 2, it kind of expects that you've played 1.
Yeah.
But you have to buy 1, even though it says like, oh well, you can play 1. Have you downloaded it yet? No. Oh well, we're going to lock those levels from you then.
Fair enough.
Wait for 3.
Okay, what if I was gonna? Yeah, if I'm gonna play, I'll see what 3 looks like, and maybe I'll have a go. Like I said, I've always wanted to play it just because enough people have told me that it's just so silly and so fun and ridiculous, but in a good way. But we'll see. Awesome, thanks, Dev. How about you, Zach? What have you been playing?
Man, well, most of my game playing this week has been committed to a game which I promised I wouldn't talk about until I've completed all of them.
Oh,
yes.
So that's coming. But in the meantime, so I haven't really been playing anything all that much, and then I saw that Battlefront was on the PlayStation like monthly download or whatever.
Right.
And a few months ago, maybe it was longer ago than that, I can't remember exactly when, but a few months ago, my friend like dug out his old PlayStation 2, and we sat and played the original Battlefront games. And
oh my god,
they're super fun. So we played those a little while ago, and we really enjoyed it. We had like a full day of just 1v1, you know, and you're taking... I obviously, for anyone who doesn't know the games, like, you control one part of this massive war. And it's really fun. And when you get enough kills or whatever, you get to be a Jedi. And then it's like, when your friend is the Jedi, it's like, oh no, they're gonna win, you know. And it's a really good one-on-one competitive. You can probably play with more than that, but it's just what we had at the time. Anyway, so then I downloaded whichever the Battlefront... Which Battlefront is on PlayStation now? It's Battlefront 2... The next generation, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. Just Battlefront 2.
It's just 1 and 2. They've just kind of done the same as Hitman and just gone back to 1 and 2.
Right. Okay. So
and
2.
then Star Wars Squadron.
And so I kind of picked it up expecting to hate it because I was like, you know, I don't know. I think if I played it online, I probably would hate it because again, it's one of these things of like getting good, and I don't really want to get good at it. But I just played a quick couple of games. Like against the computer, I think, and it feels pretty similar. It feels a lot like the old ones from the PlayStation 2, but it has this beautiful lick of paint on it. Like,
yeah, it does look good.
It is pretty stunning to sit and watch like stormtroopers looking better than they did in the original movies. Like, it's pretty nice to look at. I'll give it that. And I definitely think after lockdown ends that I'd like to play that one-on-one with someone. I have no interest, like I say, in playing online because it'll be frustrating and I just don't care enough. But I'm definitely up for playing one-on-one. I'm probably not going to play it on my own very much because I think that's not super interesting. I'm not really bothered about doing a campaign.
There's no single player mode, as in like no single career mode or campaign, is there? Or am I wrong?
Is there not?
There is in Battlefront 2.
Oh, there isn't 2. Okay.
But it got panned for being absolute garbage and just like a massive shoe-in. Like, you get to play Luke Skywalker, but all you do is attack bugs with a lightsaber. And it's like, it's not the most...
Yeah, you could have done more. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a big Star Wars guy. Like, you know, I kind of like the first movie. And I'm not
Take that back.
Sorry. It's alright. So, if it was... But maybe if it was a really good plot, if someone said like, "No, the campaign's great and like there's a really cool story," maybe I'd be bothered. But other than that, it seems like it's going to be a series of
Jedi Fallen Order
Yeah.
has the best plot, a better plot than all of the films.
I can believe it because all of the films have rubbish plots.
Whoa.
Right in the heart.
Get wrecked, Star Wars fans.
Oh god, they're going to come for you, Zach. And by they, honestly, I mean the two Davs.
Why do I spend so much time on here talking about things that everyone likes that I don't like? I could just as easily talk about Zelda all the time. You know, there's like three franchises I actually like. It's Zelda, The Last of Us, and like
Pokemon.
Half of Assassin's Creed. Pokemon a bit.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'll give Pokemon. Half of Pokemon and half of Assassin's Creed.
You can put them together. Assassin's Pokemon. Or Pokemon Creed.
Pokemon Creed.
But, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Blue version.
Would you recommend it then? Because like I did play the demo when it first came out, like what was it, like 5 years ago, and I totally agree with him. When I first played that, I was like, oh, this looks amazing, but I was like, again, it came out around about the time I was going to college. I was like, I don't have time, and there's no single player mode that I can take my time with.
Yeah.
So I'm out. I'm not going to play it. I didn't see the point in buying it.
I feel like it's a great sleepover game. You know, if you've got like a whole day with like a couple of friends and you can swap out, I think that's as I say, I've been spending most of my time playing a different game, and so I didn't get loads of time on it, but I think that's probably what it's gonna be best for. Like, it hasn't been out for 4 years or however long it's been out for. That's what I think I'll end up enjoying it with mostly. Yeah. Did any of you guys play the new ones very much, or?
I played a little bit of Battlefront and Battlefront 2. Again, not a whole lot. It is gorgeous, though, isn't it?
It is really beautiful to look at.
But Jedi Fallen Order, I 100%ed that.
I have been looking to get that.
Is Fallen Order? Is that the Blood Souls? like
Yeah.
Kind of, like a Souls light, made by Respawn, who made
Souls
Titanfall
Light.
1, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends.
Yeah.
See, I think I could get on board with the Souls Light. That's
Because someone said it was
probably
like
the kind of casual I am.
it has kind of like Metroid Prime-y stuff in it as well, where like you'll walk past something and then you'll have to go back once you've got the skill to go back. You'll then find more stuff. So it's kind of like that as well, which is, I mean, that did intrigue me. I can't remember why at the time I didn't buy it. I think it was purely just down to there was something else that came out, and I just didn't. I didn't. I bought something else, I think it was. But I am definitely going to go back into, because you said it's great, Dav, and my brother also said it's great, and I love Star Wars, so... Which just means now I just hate Zach.
You know what? I'm okay with it.
No!
At least now you have a reason.
Yeah. More. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I don't know. I would like to hear your thoughts now when you've played it a bit more as well, to see because I think there was a lot of anger when there was a lot of anger when that game first came out. A lot of it was because the old
microtransactions.
The microtransactions. I mean, that's just EA all over, but also because there was no single player campaign, and the original games did have a relatively good single player campaign. Yeah. So, because I think they took you through the original films and some of the prequels as well.
If I'd spent 50, 60 quid on the game, I'd probably be a little mad.
Right, okay. So
a little bit.
Well, if the thing is, for me, if it's a multiplayer game, if it's just a multiplayer game, it probably should just be free to play. Especially if it's got microtransactions in it. Because...
Yeah, you shouldn't be spending full price on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're right. It's a model that works and it's been tried and tested. Like, it seems to be...
Yeah, and when you check the Star Wars sticker on it, people will pay.
People will pay.
Totally.
Tell that to NBA 2K. Tell that to FIFA Ultimate Team.
Oh, don't EA. Well, there is a game we're talking about later, actually, with regards to Star Wars and EA. There's gonna be a bit of time we'll have with all the news that's been coming out. To be honest with myself, I've only been playing Xenoblade Chronicles because we've said this enough times. Last of Us is coming out this week. By the time this podcast goes up, it will actually be out.
I just got my email from Amazon saying it's been dispatched.
Yeah, me too. I
just got my email too.
Yeah, I just had mine. So I'm
over here on my Xbox.
Yeah, Dav's waiting now, Zach. I mean, Zach's been waiting for like 4 years, let alone 4 weeks. But so I've just been playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and I've spoken enough about that over the last 2 weeks. It's still a really great game. I'm still really, really enjoying it. I'm still not halfway, and I put 50 hours into it. It just seems to be going on in a good way. But yeah, there's not really much more I can say other than I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm really enjoying it. Because if you want to hear my thoughts, probably go back to last week, because me and Dav spoke about it a lot last week.
Have the tutorials stopped yet?
Yeah, I haven't even checked. I still haven't even checked. I did look into something earlier, and there was something I hadn't done. I was like, I don't care. I know I can beat everyone. Everyone relatively. It takes me a while sometimes, but I'm doing all right. So I'm just like, I don't care. But it's still a great game. I really do love it, and I'm getting to the good parts of the story now. I think I'm halfway. I think I'm just over halfway around that area, but yeah, I haven't checked. So we've only really got about 50 minutes left. So let's actually talk about some of the news. I mean, the main thing that's been happening the last week is the PS5 reveal. Now, me and Dav streamed that recently. We're not going to talk about it in depth, but just wanted to get your guys' opinions on it now that it's been a week since it came out. First of all, let's talk about how it looks. Daf Gape, for one, has your opinion changed since last week? And for Daf Weeks and Zach, what are your opinions in the first place?
Has my opinion changed? It's tempered a little bit. I don't hate it quite as much as I did when I first saw it.
Yeah.
It's not great though, is it? And for me, it appears like the digital one. Well, they designed it, and then they thought, "Oh crap, we haven't got a disk drive." And so they went, "Well, we'll just slap it on the side." And there's a good Kyle Bossman video on YouTube where he calls it's the PS5, which is the digital one, then the PS5 lump, which is the one with the disk drive on it.
But you can tilt it on the side though, because there was a lot of people questioning whether you can do that. So they've shown you can do that, but it doesn't look nice.
It looks worse.
Yeah, it
looks
look
worse
great
on its side. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's what's more important is what's in it.
Of course.
But I don't like the look of it at all.
Like I said before, I don't think for people who know what they're gonna buy anyway, and they know it's down to games and stuff. But I'm thinking of more like parents. If like a kid is going, Mum, Dad, can I have an Xbox or play a PlayStation 5 for Christmas? I know it sounds like a really ridiculous thing, but if a parent is going to see one of them, which one would they rather have in their living room? Like, it does seem like a ridiculous thing, but I don't think...
Yeah.
I think PS5 could have looked nicer. I don't think... It looks kind of cheap.
I appreciate the bold, like to go bold. I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah.
But yeah, the white plastic just does never... Like, the Wii looks super cheap. The Wii U looked super cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, Xbox One S looks alright. Hopefully the PS5 looks alright in real life. Obviously, we've only seen a video of it. But yeah, we'll see.
Someone did a comparison. It's actually a lot taller than you'd think. It's actually taller than the Xbox, from what I saw in a picture. Yeah, so you try and find it later. It was on Twitter. I saw it the other day, and they were saying it's surprisingly tall. It's taller than the Xbox. But obviously the Xbox is wider. But how about you, Daf Weeks? Zach, have you seen, like, what do you think? Have you seen it?
Like, I'll be honest, like, I don't really care what it looks like.
Yeah.
I really don't. I know I'm going to be getting one.
Yeah.
Because it's the console that, you know, it's the brand that I'm following. You know, I've never been interested in an Xbox, never owned one. It doesn't tickle me at all. I'm going to get the PlayStation 5.
Did you not have an Xbox 360?
Never.
You had a PS3? Okay, fair enough.
I've been Nintendo and PlayStation my entire life.
Okay. How about you, Zach?
I'm with you, Dav. I have to say I don't really... No, I feel like consoles always look a bit doofy. Like, when you look at, like... Look at the Xbox 360, it's not great. PS4, actually, I think out of all the consoles I've ever owned, PS4 probably looks the sleekest.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It looks pretty good.
There was a time when we had GameCubes, and like part of the title was Cube, and that was somehow revolutionary. It's ridiculous. It looks stupid.
The irony being that it wasn't a cube unless you had the Game Boy adapter underneath.
So this is what I mean. Like I'm not really that bothered. I don't really look at my console too much.
It's going on the shelf.
Small is better. Small is better because, you know, obviously everyone only has so much space in their living room, and also if ever I'm moving around, which sometimes a lot of us are, for work and stuff, like small is good. But I mostly am not really that bothered. You know, the selling point is always going to be ultimately, whatever console is, it's always going to be down to the games.
Yeah,
I got the Xbox 360 because I loved Halo 3. I got the PlayStation 4 because I loved The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I got the Wii. When I bought my Wii, it was specifically, it was a Twilight Princess machine.
Yeah.
The Switch was a Breath of the Wild machine as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if it hadn't been for if it wasn't for any of those games, it just wouldn't have. It wouldn't have switched me.
Of course,
switched me.
Hey.
But so beyond that, like, let's just have a brief talk about the price point. How much? And we'll just say quickly. I'll just go around all of you. So Zach, how much do you think the PS5 will cost? How much? As a rough guess.
I mean, they're talking 500-600, are they?
Yeah, 500-600. Well, what do you think? Because I mean, the thing is the price.
You're actually asking me.
Yeah. Well, I reckon, just have a guess. Who knows?
I'm gonna say $599.
Okay, $599. How about you, Daf Gape?
I'm gonna say $499 for the PS5.
Yeah.
And $449 for the digital.
Okay. Daf Weeks?
Yeah, I was going to say 450. Like, I think they'll surprise us, and like everyone's expecting 500, and then they could play it like it's cheaper than you thought. It's 450.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm definitely playing the pessimism card.
Yeah, I tend to think that the PS5, the all digital will. I think they'll make it like £100 cheaper because they want people to go digital, and I think they'll try and make it as big of a selling point as possible. So I think there's going to be £100 gap between the two, and if I was going to guess, I would say 400 and 500. I think that's what I think.
Incidentally, I have a question for you guys. It's a sort of sidetracking, but on the same point. I have The Last of Us 2 arriving in the next couple of days, as we all do, and I thought that I would buy the disc because I didn't have any space on my hard drive.
You've still got to download it.
Someone told me this a couple days ago, and I'm super mad about this.
Yeah.
What? That was the whole point of buying the disc.
Honestly, because the one thing I realised is that because I tend to buy my PlayStation games online just because they take ages to download. But I remember I bought The Last of Us 2 because it came with a really cool steel box. I don't know if you guys got that one as well. But there's like a limited edition version that I got because it looked really nice, and it was only like £3 more. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it because I'm still playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and it's still gonna take me all day to download. But I didn't really. I gave it thought, but now I'm still going. Oh, it's not going to arrive until like 3:00 in the afternoon, and it's not going to download until like 10 o'clock at night. So I'm not going to be playing it until Saturday morning. I'm convinced. I've already like said Friday is just not a day that I'm going to be playing that game, but it does suck that PlayStation make you do that. It doesn't really make sense. It probably does make sense, but like, why bother having discs at all?
Well, but I guess it's part of that shift that we were just talking about. It's about trying to convince people to move into the digital thing.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from anything else, game sales have suffered for years because of resale value. You can sell your game on and buy a game secondhand. That cannot be good for Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo or anyone. So it makes sense that they're trying to shift everyone into a digital download thing. That makes sense. Fair enough.
And I wonder if it was a lockdown thing where they weren't able to get the stuff to put it on the disc, but they can easily pop it on an online server that everyone can download from. And you just pop the disc in to go, this guy or girl, this person is allowed to download this game.
But it's always been a PlayStation thing. It's always been a PlayStation thing. You've got to.
Has that always been the case?
Yeah, it's always been the case with PlayStation. I
mean, I knew I had to do like updates or whatever. I didn't realize I was actually downloading the game.
No, with Red Dead Redemption 2, it took me a day to download the whole game.
But was that all download or part install?
No, it's like any game you buy on disc. Am I right, Daf Weeks? Like any game you buy on disc, you kind of have to download it.
It depends on like who's making these games. Like if you can fit it all on the disc, but like some people seem to be use it as a way to give them more time to finish their game. Like the hard copy has to be released on this day of this month, and then they'll package everything they've done so far onto it, dispatch it, and then maybe you can play the opening tutorial while the rest of the game is downloading after they've had a couple more weeks to develop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be
really interesting.
A way forward.
The day one patch.
Yeah, exactly. The day one patch. I mean, it is crazy
an
because
80 GB day one patch. Yeah.
That's what I saw the other day for Call of Duty. Call of Duty just recently had a patch and it's like 80 gigabytes, and I'm like, are you having a lot that's bigger than most games?
I don't know where that 80 gigabyte number came from, because
is that a thing? Because I saw it on Twitter and I was like, what?
So for me, the update was 35 gigs, and then I saw online it was like 80 gigs. Oh, but that's only on Xbox. I was like, well, on my Xbox it was 35.
Oh.
I think because the way that it's so weird, this game, right? So I mean, I bought it digitally anyway because I've got a digital Xbox, but the way you download Warzone, right?
Yeah.
That's free. So then I had Warzone installed, and then a pack so I could play the multiplayer thing, right? Then, once you own the game, there are 3 packs that have like an MW logo on them, and then there are 6 packs that don't. And you put a tick and you've got to download each one. So you've got 2 packs for the campaign, you've got a data pack, you've got 2 packs for the multiplayer, you've got a pack for the Spec Ops, and you've got to download each one individually, which is weird and bizarre, but if you think about it, that's great, because although the game is 180 bloody gigs, once you completed the campaign, you can go, right, well, I can take that 30 gigs and go away.
Yeah.
And now I've got 150 gigs of a game.
Yeah. And
I think when a game's that big, if you don't structure it like that, you are not thinking about the consumer in any way, and it's really unfair.
That is true. The one thing I'll never really get over is how big games are these days.
Yeah.
Just 180 gigs to play one game is just... I mean, I know I mentioned it before, but... And I know it's not the best version to play, but like The Witcher 3 on Switch is 30 gigabytes, and that seems big. That seems crazy big anyway. But so we've got a few more bits of news that we're going to talk about. Should we talk Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we just watched the Pokemon news. Pokemon. Well, first off, Pokemon. What is it? Pokemon Smile. That is the one we're obviously going to talk about. Brush your teeth, kids. And adults. And adults, yeah.
Pokemon toothbrush.
Rosie's always telling me to brush my teeth, so now I'm going to get that app. I'm going to be brushing morning and night.
With a Snapchat filter of Eevee on your head.
Every day.
Pokemon Cafe Mix.
That was also a thing.
Always like the Squirtle-chino.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
But yeah, I think we're all here to talk about just one thing. I just can't believe they did Pokemon DLC. No, Pokemon.
No.
Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap. It's back! Yay! Woo! I'm so happy.
Oh,
That's a day one stream. That's a day one stream right there.
That is so. Yes, please. Oh. Yeah, guys, what do you think?
Mate, I'm so hyped.
Mate.
Dav called it. Other Dav called it.
Yeah, other Dav.
Yeah, I called it. Like, you asked me, and then first thing on top of my head was like, oh yeah, Pokemon Snap. It's like literally my favorite thing to do with Pokemon. Like, I got it because it didn't really get a UK release. So my dad went on a business trip to America and bought it back with him with like a converting cart where you had to smack Mario 64 in the back of it to convert it for UK.
Oh my god!
Wow, you weren't waiting. You weren't waiting for anything.
Yeah.
Oh mate. So, and I played that bad boy. I loved it, and it's great because like every little time you play it, and you get a new item, and then suddenly, a Pokemon does something really surprising.
Yeah.
Click. It's brilliant. It's like like so many little moments of joy as you play it, and I am so psyched that we get to have that again.
Did we all play that game? Have we all played it?
Yes.
The original.
I loved it.
Zach, I'm surprised you have all. I thought you would.
I know.
You
It
and
just
Daf Gape would be
happened
the
to be
two.
one that passed us. Just happened to pass me by. But I do love the idea of it, like the aesthetic of the whole thing. And this new trailer, man, it looks beautiful. It's Pokemon looking probably better than we've ever seen. The last time I saw Pokemon and thought, wow, that's beautiful, was Pokken. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
Tournament,
That was really nice to see Pokemon in HD, but I think this is. I hope that this is going to top it visually, because I mean that's
it has to.
such a
The
big
nature
part
of it is
the appeal of the
photography.
game.
Yeah,
It has to be pretty.
Yeah.
You know, but then of course Sword and Shield, I think, let a lot of people down. I think a lot of people were not so enthralled with the new visual. It wasn't like there were a lot of animation problems, and I mean even a lot of the sprites were pretty dumbed down. I guess you guys have seen the whole thing about the trees.
The trees,
in the open area.
Yeah.
So like it, I could see that be disappointing, and I think it'll be a real shame if Pokemon Snap has similar problems. I don't think it will.
I don't think it will. Just
it has,
And I think it's a much less intensive game.
yeah, true.
But it has much more focus. They can spend pretty much. They can spend a big part of their resources purely on their design and their aesthetic.
And I mean, it is on Switch. It's never going to look perfect, but it can look beautiful.
No, but it's true. Like when you look at a game like Mario Odyssey, that's a beautiful looking game. It's obviously not the best looking game in the world, but like it is still gorgeous to look at. And from what we saw earlier, I mean, I was just so chuffed. Because I think a lot of people have been asking for that game for so long.
Oh
like
yeah.
You
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
It's just I remember playing it as a kid and just. I mean, I love playing Pokemon Stadium as well. I would love a Pokemon Stadium game to come out. It's weird because I played more of the side entries to the Pokemon games more than the actual Pokemon games themselves. So I played Pokemon Snap, I played Pokemon Stadium, I played all those types of games, but I didn't really play any game beyond Pokemon Yellow, which is crazy. But I think it's safe to say we're all pretty excited about that.
And also it's called New Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, but I mean, do you know what's crazy to think though is there hasn't been one since the N64, and people
We're
love
talking a long time ago.
That's like at least 20 years ago, probably a little bit more. And people loved that original game. It just seems weird that it's I've got my Switch in front of me, so it does seem like something you would just use your Switch and be able to take photos like that because it's something they implement a lot in their other games. But I think I imagine we'll all be getting that. I know Zach obviously had his Switch stolen, but yeah.
This is the thing. I'm probably not going to play it because I'm probably not going to replace my Switch.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah,
So
I think we're all. It was very, very excited to see that. Let's move on to another thing we saw that was announced again yesterday. Was it yesterday? Star Wars Squadrons. Was it the day before? Was it yesterday?
Star Wars Squadron yesterday.
Yeah. Well, basically
Today's Wednesday.
Yes, it is. It's an immersive first-person space dogfighting experience, and it can be played in VR. So I imagine Callum right now will just be rubbing his hands with glee. But yeah, and no microtransactions. So I mean, those are all good things to put together.
Yeah, made by Motive, who made the dogfighting combat in the Battlefront games.
Oh, nice.
Which is actually one I don't really. So it's not my kind of game. I don't really like air combat. Any kind of flying mechanics in pretty much any game.
Yeah.
But I will say the little that I did play at Battlefront 2, the flying in the spaceships felt very good.
Yeah.
So
those types of games have always been fun. I remember playing like Rogue Squadron, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Back in the old days, like the 90s. Those types of games. Me and my brother would buy any game that we could get our hands on that would let you fly those types of ships.
Yeah.
Just because they were always fun, and the N64 games in particular, just again so revered. People love those games, and it'd be silly of EA not to tap into that and just go, yeah, we can't obviously do what they've done, but this is exactly the same with modern, crisp, lovely graphics. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be cheaper as well. Someone said that it was $39.99. So I imagine it'll be around 35 quid, maybe 30 quid.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to have a look now at what the price is actually.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
No, we've got. I think there's just more data, more information coming out next week. I think it is. So we'll just keep up.
Tomorrow.
Oh, they're out tomorrow.
The EA Play is tomorrow. We're going to see
Amazing.
gameplay of that. We're going to see other EA stuff. Probably
Amazing.
Madden 21, FIFA 21.
Amazing. So we'll find out more tomorrow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
probably Apex as well.
Apex Legends. And finally, the last bit of news. It's not really something we could talk about in depth. It's just something to note that, like we said earlier, Last of Us 2 is out. Will be out Friday, but by the time this podcast goes out, will be out. And I imagine Zach's head will have exploded with pure joy at that point.
But I probably won't have played it because I'll be sitting waiting for the fudging download.
Still waiting for it to download by the next time the podcast comes out. But yeah, just a brief. I'm just so excited.
Squadrons, by the way, are listed at $34.99 and
we
comes out October 2nd.
Nice, brilliant. There we are. So just to finish off today, really little fun thing we did recently when we had Callum on. I did the best, I said the highest rated games of all time. So this time I'm going to do something slightly similar. But this time I was going to do best selling franchises of all time. So the top 10 best selling franchises of all time.
Is that just games?
So it's
or is it like merch?
This is how many copies of the games they've sold. So it's nothing to do with money. It's just it's purely down to copies of the game or the game in the franchise.
Oh, I know what it is.
Do mobile games count?
They don't. No. So one mobile game counts, but from what the list that I'm looking at, there are no mobile games on there apart from I think one. So,
and one last question: are there any free-to-play games there? Things like League of Legends or
no.
Okay, cool.
No. It's purely these are bought games in their franchise. And to be honest, even with those free-to-play games, no, there's nothing on here saying that. No. So it's purely don't think of those types of games. Think of games that you'd have to physically go out and buy on their franchises. So we'll do the same we did last time. We'll start with Daf Weeks, and I'll just go around in a circle and I'll ask you guys. There's 10 on offer. I imagine you'll get most of them, but I'm feeling you might not get all of them. So we'll start with Daf Weeks. Yeah.
I'm not going for the pointless answer. I'm going for the obvious one. GTA.
Yeah.
GTA is on there. Number 4. Ooh. Do you want me to give you the details?
Go on. GTA details.
I can't tell the exact details of how many copies the individual game sold, but overall, Grand Theft Auto has sold 310 million copies. So the franchise has sold that many. And GTA 5 probably is almost half of that.
Yeah.
That's not even a joke. I think it's 130, 140 million copies, which is insane. Soon to be out on PS5. Anyway, Daf Gape?
Mario.
Number 1. Do you want to have a guess how many games Mario sold? I don't want to overshoot it, but just have a guess.
Is it in the billions?
It's not.
Okay, I'm going to say 836 million.
So it's 639.4. So yeah, 639 million, which is a lot.
But that's quite the drop off from 1 to 4, though, isn't it? So I can break it down with this one specifically. So the Super Mario series is 344. The Mario Kart series, so this is inclusive of all Mario games. The Mario Kart series is 144. Mario Party is 52 million. Mario Sports 41 million. Mario RPG is 24, so that's including the Paper Mario games as well as Mario RPG. And then other Mario games is 32.
WarioWare should be so much higher.
Yeah.
So this is a combination of all the games from that franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a different game.
Yeah. So Zach,
Pokemon, I guess.
Pokemon is number 3. 362 million. Dab Weeks.
Oh gosh, FIFA.
Number 6. 282 million.
Oh.
Daf Gape?
Do I go sports? Oh, Call of Duty.
Number 5, 300 million.
What's number 2?
You will definitely all get it when you take.
It's Zelda.
Zelda is not on the top 10.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Zelda's not top 10. I think if I remember
There
reading
are like a million Zelda games.
No,
How have they not all
but the
collectively sold more
the
than...
best-selling Zelda game is Breath of the Wild, and that's 17 million. Zelda games do not sell as well as you think.
Really?
I was looking through the sales. Like Wind Waker only sold like 5 million when it first came out.
And it doesn't get the spin-offs.
It doesn't get this. No. Okay.
It does, but they're rubbish. Like
Yeah.
Triforce Heroes.
Daf Weeks.
Do the Olympics games count? Because they release them every
Mario
year.
So that would be included in the Mario, either the Mario or
Nagano 98 Winter Olympics?
Nope.
Oh, those ones.
Those ones. I think about the Mario
literally.
games.
We're talking about 25 years of
Nope.
Olympic branded. No, okay.
Daf Gape.
Okay. Got to get us back on track here, guys. I'm going to say Halo.
Halo is a big no.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not Halo. Not Halo.
The
Because
Sims.
again, I think Halo is limited to the Xbox.
That's a good shout.
What did he say?
The Sims.
The Sims is number 8. 200
Yes!
million. Good shout.
We're
Good
back
shout,
in.
Zach. Good shout.
How does The Sims sell more than Zelda? I'm pissed off.
Oh, man. Yeah, but think of who The Sims sells to. It sells to anyone that can. Like Rosie had all 4 of The Sims games.
Even Rosie.
But do you know what I mean? It's
Play
like, this is before she
Zelda.
like. Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Or she played games properly.
Daf Weeks.
Oh, God, I am so out of ideas already. No, not a
Just
clue.
throw a guess. Throw a guess.
XCOM.
No,
I'd love it to be XCOM.
It's not XCOM.
I'd love that.
it to be XCOM.
Okay, so
but
what
it
I'm going to
ain't
do is
XCOM.
I'll go around 3 more times each, and then I'll tell you
Okay.
what the order is. Okay, so Dab Weeks, you've got 2 more goes. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to say... I don't know. 3, 2, 1. Star Wars. Does Star Wars count as a franchise?
No, it's not on that. No Star Wars. Zach.
Crash Bandicoot?
Nope. Dab Weeks. So you got 2 more goes.
Half-Life.
Half-Life. No. Dab Gape.
Gonna go Forza.
Nope. Zach. So do you want me to tell you? Do you want, I'll tell you the numbers that we're missing. We're missing 10. We're missing 9. We're missing 7. We're missing 2.
And did you say there's a mobile game?
Missing
involved
number
in that?
2.
I
Yeah.
think I might have number 2.
Okay. Zach.
So there is a mobile game that it could be.
Yes.
Like Angry Birds or something?
No. And I don't want to say mobile game because I don't want you to think of that. It's just it will make sense when I say mobile game. So
Right,
I'll go
okay.
one more go. Okay, one more go. Dab Weeks?
Okay.
Cut.
Assassin's Creed.
No, it's a good shout though. Dab Gape?
What? Tetris.
Number 2.
Of course.
Tetris.
Of course.
So Tetris is
Good call.
495 million, 70 million physical sales, 425 million mobile games. I mean, the thing is, even using these figures, there are some people that still believe that Tetris sold more because like it sold in like all. There's some people who think Tetris is the first game to break 1 billion, but official sales we only have 495 million.
Yeah.
Zach, let's see if we can get one more before I tell you the 10
Wait,
to 1.
what numbers have we got missing? 9,
We're missing
10.
10, 9, and 7. And then I'll read them out in order from 10 to 1. There are some big. There are 2 that you will go like, oh yeah, and there's one to be like, oh, crying out loud, yeah, okay.
Smash Brothers or something?
Okay, so
NBA 2K.
in number 10, Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
154.5 million. I think people underestimate how big like Final Fantasy 7 was. It sold like that in its own. I think it sold like 30 million copies back in the day. Number 9, Minecraft.
Right, of course.
200
we should have seen that.
200 million on almost on its own. It's probably going to be the best-selling game individually of all time.
Fair play.
Number 8 is The Sims. Ugh, you're all going to hate me for this. Number 7 is the Wii games. So like Wii Sports.
Wii Sports, Wii
I
Play.
was going to say that, but I didn't think that counted as a
Music.
franchise. That was going to be the first thing I was going to say
the thing is,
because
they
Wii
came-
Sports came with the Wii, and the
Yeah.
Wii, and
But you
the
could
other
buy
one
them
came with a
individually
Wii
as well.
remote.
You could buy them as well.
I'm so
The Wii
annoyed.
games. That's the one. Then 6 is FIFA. 5 is Call
I
of
nearly
Duty.
said it as well.
4 is Grand Theft Auto. 3 is Pokemon. 2 is Tetris. And It's me, Mario is number 1.
Well done to Daf Gape for getting
yeah.
number 1 and 2. That was pretty.
Yeah, man.
We did not get those.
What was 3 again?
Number 3 was no. You all got 1, 2, 3. Daf Weeks got Mario. Daf Gape got Tetris, and you got Pokemon.
I got.
Oh, you got Mario today. Oh, okay.
No, yeah, that wasn't me.
Yeah,
I said XCOM. It wasn't me.
But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much, guys. I'll try and do this more often because I quite enjoy doing stuff like this. It's fun to do stuff like
cool.
this. It's a good way to end the podcast as well. First of all, I just want to Daf Weeks. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here, man. Like, so great to have you. Yeah, feel free to give us a call and be like, yeah, I want to come on again. We're more than happy to have you on board. Gents, as ever, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on. You two down the bottom, if you're looking at the screen. That is the end of podcast number 9. Thank you very much for listening today. If you enjoyed the show, then please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Patreon. Tell your friends, tell your mum. I'm sure she'll enjoy. Give us a review.
Tell your mum.
Give us a comment. It would mean the world to us. We love talking about stuff. It doesn't have to be about games. It could be about something that's really bad on TV. Yeah. I mean, probably about games should be.
Like how many times I see the Last of Us 2 advert.
If you haven't already, check out Zach singing his Wii song from Last of Us 2 and watch Rank the Jank with Daf Gape. Daf, when are you streaming on Sunday? And what time and what are you streaming?
I will be streaming Call of Duty Modern Warfare, multiplayer in Warzone, and it will be roughly 2:30 p.m. BST.
Brilliant. So catch him there. Thank you very much, guys. As ever, stay safe. We love you all. This is Video Games Ahoy, and we'll see you next week.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Ahoy.